So this epiphany, change in perspective, this initial system kind of starts a fire within you, which spreads to the rest of your business. And all of a sudden you're like turning over every rock and like, what can I systemize here? How can I make this more efficient? How can I get this off my plate? Now you really are moving into like entrepreneur land, where you thought you were before but weren't quite yet. Now you actually are moving into this entrepreneurial type role where you're creating a system that functions without you. And I really want, for our listeners, I want them to hear about like the most fundamental systems that you hired. I think one of the first things that you'd mentioned was a big difference maker was getting a bit of a tech stack built out, like having some softwares in place, having some technology working for you in the background. What did you put in place first? What difference did it make? How did you add to it? Just take us through that whole journey.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that I want everybody to know this wasn't like I sat down and just had this. I mapped out this plan. It was a painful step, but right. It all started with the office lady needing a way to know everything. And so I Googled how to keep your team in the loop, and the CRM marketing started popping up. Job Nimbus was reaching out, and the idea of a CRM, in fact, I think that Google search led me to you guys as well a little bit. You guys started, marketing me and
shamelessly marketing you all the time. Yeah. Sorry about that. You're here now.
No, it was great. And so I started getting the CRM, and I realized I didn't even know what that stood for. And everybody kept asking me, hey, do you have a CRM? I'm like, I don't even know what these things are. And so getting Job Nimbus in place allowed my team, which was one person, a hub to house all the customers' information, job information. I got it out of a notebook that was in my truck into a computer, and I could see it on my phone and she could see in the office. And this was mind-blowing to me.
You know, it's funny, on my little sheet here, I have all of these stats from Coach Ryan on your business. And one of the little, like, it's not exactly a KPI, but one of the results that we've tracked with you is tools in place. That's the category. Pre-2018, it says Anthony's brain. And then after that, it's like, now it's Sumo Quote, Company Camp, Job Nimbus, all this stuff. So it is funny. Getting Job Nimbus in place was a real revelation. Was that really hard? Was it daunting? A lot of people find software implementations extremely difficult. They're highly stressful. It's hard to get the team on board. Was that the case for you with these tools, Job Nimbus specifically?
Well, shout out to Job Nimbus. They do a very good job taking you through and lining you up. So I really appreciate how they did that. And, they built out their system knowing that this is hard. Yeah. I will say finding the right one was hard. Understanding what you actually need. Because knowing once you get married to one of these things, it's hard to back out. And but it was, I think early on with one employee, it was, I could customize it from the very beginning.
What are some of the other tools that you added on top of that? What else how was your tech stack evolved from there?
So the tech stack kept evolving as I tried to learn how to teach my office what it is I was doing in the field, and also what the customers, teaching them what it is I'm going to be doing on their roof.
Right.
And I used to do a lot of pictures and and that led me to researching Sumo Quote, which I added, I think it was 2 years ago. I mean, it was really when they were just coming into the market, and Sumo Quote allowed me to systematize the quote that would instantly upload to my office lady, so she was staying in the known, and that allowed the sales process to become very fluent, to cut back on my time and produce a really high quality looking estimate.
The actual, we've had Ryan Shantz, founder of Sumo Quote, on the podcast. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
We love the product. And just for listeners who don't know what it is basically a very simple but ingenious little piece of software that helps you create the client-facing proposal, the thing that actually faces the customer, and they look through and see their house and see the scope of work that you're proposing to do. They see the price, they see product information. is beautiful. It converts very, very well. It's sort of made with sales psychology in mind. So it sort of does some of the selling for you. And then there's an easy place to sign. It's just a really, really great tool if you do residential in-home sales of any kind. Anthony's a roofer, but if you do landscaping, painting, whatever the case, whatever your business is, like check out Sumo Quote. For you, did you notice a boost in SR? What did it do to your sales process? That part of your workflow, how did it make that easier, more efficient for you guys?
Yeah, it was a game changer instantly, because I shopped the competition, and they were on Word documents. There were no pictures included.
Your competition, you shopped around like other roofers in Seattle, checked out what they were doing. And I quietly realized I've stumbled upon something that's going to separate me instantaneously. And I wasn't really looking at that. I was looking at how can I communicate with my office lady. I kept focusing on what I'm doing out here. If I just get the quote to the customer in 15 minutes, I don't have to go back and explain to my office what we're doing. It's in the Sumo Quote through pictures and through verbiage. So it was like a one-time deal, because I was doing estimates late at night, sending them to customers, and then explaining to the office lady what the job is going to be. And there were so many steps that I knew needed to be eliminated by one swoop. So you kind of killed two birds with one stone there. You were essentially having to build this thing spec for a homeowner every time, then relay that information to the office. Instead, you got a little tool that does both really effectively and saves you time in the making.
Yeah, it was a one-time deal. I've obsessed on, I have 6 kids, so I like to explain things to them through picture and words.
Right.
So the customer needed a picture and words. My office lady needed a picture and words, which led me to the other great piece here is Company Cam was the ultimate game changer for my business.
How come?
Because I could go to a customer's home and I can take a full array of video, pictures, and create a storyline for my office staff so that they could set up the job. I could also create a storyline and an understanding for my customer all in one swoop. I could create a work order through video, which allowed my office to learn about roofing without having seminars. They could just watch my videos. And what I learned was my office, they would learn what a flapper vent was by watching the video. They were learning what pipe boots look like. And so they were becoming familiar with the roofing process, all by me just doing a very thorough estimate and setting up the team for success. So the estimate, 1.5 hour with the customer, was establishing all the data we needed to do the job.
I think that's a really important point. I don't want listeners to lose sight of this. Like, these tools helped you do it helped you achieve your objectives with more ease, in terms of selling to the customer, in terms of saving time for you, and all that's great. But the other thing that's packed in here is it helped you educate your office about the actual process of roofing, which, if you talk to a lot of contractors, that's actually a huge communication breakdown that a lot of business owners struggle with. They've got site guys, they've got project managers, they've got crew leads that are doing the thing, and then they have people in the office that are administrating the thing, but neither of them really understand each other super well. So I think that's a really neat point you just made. This technology helped bridge that gap, train the office on what they need to know about without you having to set up weekend seminars and evening trainings and do all this extra work for them. It kind of happened like through osmosis. It kind of happened organically because they're just getting exposed to this stuff through the tools. It's a really good point. So this tech stack takes shape. You've got JobNimbus as the main hub, Sumo Quote for your sales process, Company Cam that helps sort of with compliance, helps track job progress, etc. And these things are now working in unison. What's the next big project? If you're looking at like implementation projects, things you had to change about your business, where did your attention turn to then?
Okay, well,
listen, if you like that clip, you can watch the full episode by clicking here. If you're not yet subscribed, you probably should be, and you can do that by clicking right here.